How did one of the top multi-million dollar roofing businesses scale their business? You're going to find out right now. Hi, this is Daniel Lakstins, and you're listening to the Roofing Business Builder Podcast. Now, I'm a 30-year vet in the roofing industry, and I've learned so many ways that I can speed up your business to help you to avoid those mistakes that may cost tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I will speed up 3 years of your life by just listening to this podcast. Now, today, we're going to talk about how to scale a business. And I have a special guest, Ken Kelly of Kelly Roofing. But before we get into the podcast, let's do an intention for this podcast. This intention that I'm thinking about for this podcast is, my machine is running. My machine is running. You built a machine. You built a roofing company, and it is running. A lot of times we'll feel to ourselves that, I just wish it was better in this area, or I wish I was doing better at this. Well, that's true. You can feel that way. But continue to remind yourself that you already built the machine, that my machine is running, and then you're just going to add on to that machine. You're going to speed it up. It's growing. But holding that intention that my machine is running will give you some relief and make you realize that you have built something really special, and that now it's time to start tweaking and adding things. Now, let's get into my discussion with Ken Kelly. In this interview, we talk about how he scaled his multi-million dollar roofing business. What were the things that he learned along the way? He's going to share them with you right now. And so, Ken, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Great to be here, Daniel.
No, I'm just really excited to have you on because I've known you for years, and you do so much. You are one of the top 100 roofing companies in the U.S., and yet you spend time giving back to your community and to the industry. And so what I'd like to know is, what strategies have you've used? I mean, growing your business over these years, what strategies did you use to help to grow your business while also allowing yourself to spend more time in helping your community and helping the industry?
Well, delegate and elevate is what I would say. Being able to trust the people underneath you. As contractors, we're somewhat of a skeptical group. We don't really trust or believe in either processes or people. And being able to overcome that is quite a challenge. It's kind of a venture I put myself on, trying to become a level 5 leader, and that's a big part of it. So, I would create a system or a process. I'd turn it over to somebody and train them, watch them for a little bit, and then I would place a scorecard number over that position, and then I'd be able to manage it just from one scorecard.
Wow. So how do you explain that scorecard? Just really a paper, and then later on down the road, you even moved into automation or more automation. You're doing automation before I think I saw any roofer do automation years ago.
We've been doing it for a while. But to answer your first question, think of it as just a number. Everyone needs a number. I don't care if it's the person who's answering the phone, right? That number might be 2. In other words, we don't want the phone to ring more than 2 times before it's answered. Okay, maybe it's voicemails. We don't want any voicemails. And we compare that to the number of calls that come in. Maybe every 30 calls, you have 1 voicemail. Maybe that's acceptable. And then what I did is I created computer programs to go behind it and calculate all of those. So you don't have to go and dig up the numbers or have somebody spending time reporting. It's delivered every single morning in what we call the flash report scorecard. And it's all the key metrics. The whole design behind it is, if you were stranded on a deserted island and you had no forms of communication except a pigeon comes and drops this report down on you every morning, you should be able to know through looking at maybe 10, 15, 20 numbers at the max how your company's performing. And from those numbers, know exactly where to go if something was off, so you know how to fix it.
And you actually did this yourself. You created your own KPIs, whereas other people may purchase. Are there any programs out there? Or is it something that a roofer would have to actually develop, or maybe in combination of doing both of those?
I think it's a combination. So yes, you're right. We went ahead and created a program from scratch on the Dynamics platform, which is a Microsoft product. It's their business operations suite. And, that gives us a lot of flexibility and a lot of capability. But it's a huge investment. You really need to enjoy technology. You want to be able to play in that world and had almost treat it like a hobby because it is somewhat consuming. But there's absolutely programs that are out there that can help you get started on it very easily.
Wow, that's amazing. So that's encouraging. And that's what I think a lot of times roofers that are transitioning or trying to grow their business, they're so distracted by actually doing the work that they're not able to take advantage of certain technologies and concepts that are out there that would really free up some time for them. And speaking of free time, just kidding, but I mean, you're always working, but you're a part of the RT3. You're a member of RT3. It's a think tank that it's advocating for digital transformation of the roofing industry. So can you, are you allowed to, or can you tell us a little bit about that, what your work there?
Absolutely. The Roofing Technology Think Tank, or RT3 for short, is a group of like-minded individuals who are hoping to revolutionize the roofing industry before somebody comes in and disrupts it and leaves us in the dust. We want to be on the forefront. So our whole program is designed around finding emerging technologies, researching them, creating case studies, and then disseminating that information to the roofing industry at large. This way, everyone can democratize all of these new technologies and start utilizing them before somebody comes in and does it and pulls the rug out from underneath us.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of room for basically an Amazon to come in, or you got Elon Musk coming in with solar that he needs roofing to be
Tesla
done. So
solar roof, yes.
Yeah, so there's plenty of room for a very large disruptor. So this is great what you're working on. And when it comes to let's see your technology, are you guys looking into blockchain? I'm sure. What am I saying? You guys are digital guys, so different ways that you can use blockchain to protect information. Or have you guys are you talking about stuff like that, or?
We use that by default in all of our encryption because Microsoft, our platform suite, uses it, right? Passwords are a thing of the old nowadays, right? So it's all blockchain. All of your data is stored in various centers across the world, and there's only one key, and that key is digital that you need in order to access it. So hacking is almost impossible. I'm not going to say it, it is, because there's two types of people in the world: those who have been hacked and those who don't know they've been hacked, right? But no, they really do a great job protecting us. So by default, yes. But you know what I'm working on right now is
that's what I was gonna. Yes, go. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to find a way to accept cryptos as payment.
Ooh, yeah. I heard Elon is accepting Bitcoin for Teslas now.
That's what I heard as well. And he's a huge supporter of Doge. And, he kind of, I don't know if he's trolling us or if he really
I have Doge too.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I have lots and lots of Doge. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. So that's the reason why I'm seeing a spike. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even just recently he said, hey, I'm going to get a Shub, right? So that's like the mascot of the Doge coin.
Oh, I see. So is there any other examples of technology that have helped you to automate and scale your business that you could share with us today?
Absolutely. There's tons. I'll pick a couple that are probably the most prevalent and easiest for your listeners to implement. So we had a hurricane in September 10th of 2017. It was Hurricane Irma. It hit our backyard. And that to us, we have, despite what people think, Florida doesn't get hurricanes every year. It had been well over a decade since the one before. As a matter of fact, it had been over 12 years. Yeah. And all of a sudden, here's this hurricane. So we go from about 125 employees to about 350 employees in a period of 3 months. Wow. And that's a huge growth, right? But we need to in order to service our community. So how do we do that? Here's a couple little things that we did. And the key that you're going to hear as I continue to repeat this is you're going to see how technology does not care how many jobs we have. We can have 5 in the system. We can have 5,000 in the system. The technology is just simply a database that's related to a bunch of other databases, and it expands and contracts based on whatever we need it to do. The difference is plug in and play in individuals to do key roles that the software can't. And so watch how this works. I'll give you an example. So right after the hurricane, phone lines are down because power's down. We stood up a page on our website, turned it into a flat single page, took all the other pages out, and it was quite simply sign up for service, giving them 3 options. You can have an emergency repair, you can have a free estimate, or we had the ability to do some interface with their insurance company.
Wow.
Well, all they would do is put in their contact information. If it was emergency repair, even their credit card information, that would automatically go into our software platform that would take all of those leads. And by the way, in the first 30 days, it was 26,800 requests for service. Right?
Oh
That's
my
an
goodness.
insane amount of leads, right?
If you had someone answering the phone, no one could do all that. I mean, you didn't have enough employees to handle that kind of volume, but you used technology to wow, that's incredible. How did you handle all those people though, even with the technology?
We were pretty fortunate. So my son ended up having some friends that used to work down at one of the hotels that got destroyed. And they were like the beach guys, right? The lawn chairs or the beach chairs and the water sports, or the wave runners and those type of things. And they were jobless. And I said, well, come on in. And at first they were helping with some of that scheduling. So the system would automatically schedule or arrange all of the leads by zip code. And then we would assign that zip code to a project manager, which is our salesperson, and the software would set up their days and schedule automatically based on where they were going to be. So we'd set one appointment in the morning, and then it would go ahead and do a proximity and schedule the rest of them. It's pretty cool the way that works. Well, we still need a little human interaction to kind of get those started. Once we pretty much had the schedule generating on its own, we moved them over, gave them all iPads. There's about 12 different people, and they were doing the takeoffs, the roof takeoffs. Now, today we wouldn't need that, right? Today we can just order an entire zip code and we can get all the dimensions for every building in there. So again, here we are just 3-4 years later, and that's already obsolete, but that's what we had to work with.
That's so cool. It's already obsolete.
They take those dimensions and it would break it down into 14 key metrics. They would take those 14 key metrics, they'd key them into a software. Software would price any roof with any option, and we'd be able to quickly get that out to our project managers. They'd open it up using their data cards. They would see all the details, and they'd be able to price anything for any customer at any time, whether it was retail or insurance. And the insurance reports were in the exact format that insurance companies request. It's almost like an Xactimate. The difference is we were using their pricing, but it was inside our system, so we could go either way based on whatever the customer wanted. If it was a repair, they're going to pay out of pocket, they're going to deal with insurance company or not. We were able to give them that price. If it was going directly to a desk adjuster, well, we had all the product lines, all the different cores, the O&P, everything in there, and then tabulated at the bottom. So really
it takes a lot of time to put that together though, and to keep up with it yearly to make sure that the pricing is accurate.
It's not bad, because once you have the dimensions, you can, all you're putting on every one of those dimensions, you're just putting a code, right? Just a price per. So a price per lineal foot, price per square foot, price per boot, price per vent, whatever it happens to be.
But how often do you have to update the price per boot? Because sometimes there are price increases with different manufacturers. So but do you tweak it like every 3 months or twice a year?
It depends on what's going on in the market. So right after the storm, it was every month. Xactimate was releasing a new price update. Boom, we would get that update, we'd put it on all our product lines, and then it'd be done. It'd take you maybe an hour. After that, it got to about a 3-month cycle. So for a couple of years, we were running every quarter. Recently, with all the price increases that are coming out almost weekly, we're doing it every 2 weeks. We're putting out another release. So yeah, and what's great is every proposal that goes out the door, since it's all digital, everything from the moment I hit send, or save, now all of a sudden all the prices are coming out at the new level.
Wow, that's incredible. And that's how you can push out a bunch of estimates. I mean, it's incredible. Now, do you take more time with larger projects? And then when doing one of those estimates, do you, once the person says you're too busy for that sort of service. So what happens is it's kind of like you're basically the Amazon of roofing right now, huh?
We have a rule in the company. The project manager is not allowed to leave the site unless they've produced and presented a price. Now, if the decision maker is not there and we're not able to present, no problem. We'll reset that. We'll come back. But at least the pricing has been generated. If there's something that
do you do destructive testing before that happens, or before
on site at time of visit? Yep. And we'll set the window 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it takes. We'll set the window based on the size of the building and who's going to be there to meet us.
That's incredible.
They need, right? And it doesn't matter. I mean, if there's something that they can't price, it's something we should not be doing. It's outside our scope. We haven't priced for it
That's
yet.
it. Yeah. So, and you stay within your niche. You already know what you do, and you got this well-oiled machine. And that the truth is a lot of men have a hard time being focused on. People say, well, that guy's lazy. It's like, well, no, actually, if you get them going on something, they're going to kick some. I mean, they're really going to get that job done. It's just getting them that little nudge, So
I'm a big fan of Jocko, right? Jocko Willink, right? I've read all of his books. I listen to his podcast religiously. And he's got a famous saying. He's got a book that backs this up. It's called Discipline Equals Freedom. And that's really interesting, the dichotomy of those words being put together. If I do the mundane tasks, if I do the same thing over and over again, and I just force myself to do it, as boring as it may be, it will equal opportunities to not have to do them in the future. Right? So you kind of pay for it now, and then you get to reap the rewards of it later. And that's the way we do it. Even today, there are things where I can step back and let others handle. But then there are things that I religiously never, ever sacrifice. For instance, reviewing that daily scorecard. That, to me, anyone could look at it and they'd probably be done in 15 seconds. For me, that's a 15 to 20-minute task to really think about those numbers. So, Daniel, I'm a pilot because we have spent some time in the Bahamas together, which was a lot of fun. So, in an airplane, you've got a number of gauges that you're looking at. And one of those gauges could be wrong. But I know by looking at the other 5, we call it the 6-pack, right? By looking at the other 5.
We call this the 6-pack too here. No.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so the 6-pack.
If it's one of those gauges that is throwing an error, or if the plane is really that far out of whack by what the other 5 are saying. And it's the same thing with the scorecard. Everything looks good, but there's one number that's off. That number combined with looking at other numbers will tell you what you need to know. So here's an example. I saw yesterday 182 calls came in, but I only saw 16 new leads. Right? 182, that's solid. That's a lot of calls. That's great. But leads, that's a problem. So my first call is to the team leader of customer service, Alicia. I said, Alicia, just out of curiosity, I saw a bunch of calls come in yesterday. You guys, what's going on? Not a lot of leads? And she goes, no, we got a ton of leads. I said, why only 16? She says, oh, we were so busy with getting the calls that we started writing little notes down on pages and never actually had the chance to enter them into the system. I said, well, there you go. So I knew there was a problem with customer service. One number looked good. The other one looked like it might just be an error, but no, it actually points to an error because of took another person from one of our team, let them get all those numbers entered. And now we're scheduling 24 hours like we always want to be.
Wow. That is incredible.
So the scorecard showed me a number that was really positive and showed one that could have just been an error, but really the error was an actual problem. And it told me exactly where to go to know what the actual issue was and how to fix it.
That's incredible. Yeah. And when you think about it, if someone's not paying attention to the scorecard, like you were doing, then there could be a few weeks that would go by and none of that information would have been inputted into your CRM. And then the whole system, well, what you built wouldn't be functioning, right?
Well, yes. And don't get me wrong. We have backups for everything. So just because we didn't get the chance to enter them doesn't mean that the world stops. No, we have the ability to continue operating even though the system's not up and running. But that doesn't happen with a 99.9% guarantee from Microsoft that you're going to, as long as you have internet, your system's going to work. But you never know. And for instance, at time of hurricanes, we want to be able to have a backup plan, and we do. So it works. Here's 2 questions that I know that you asked. You asked one is, how can people follow you? I don't have a good answer for that because, people ask me to speak, people ask me to write, and I just say, okay, and I'm not a good self-promoter. It's not about me. So I don't really have a good answer for that. But I do have something that might be valuable to your listeners. And that is I'm an avid reader. And I always have a book recommendation based on where people are. So if you want, I can spend 2 minutes and I just go through some of like the top 10 or so.
Ooh, I like this. Oh, that's really good. All right. So what is your top 10 books for roofers that are trying to grow their business and automate? or
Yeah.
or just grow their business and do a better job?
I get this question often, and it depends on where you are in the journey and what your need is. So, for instance, if you're struggling on the operations side of things and you need a way to try to organize how many jobs you can get done, the delivery schedules, the inventory, the repositioning of crews, and so forth, I strongly recommend the Toyota Way by Jeffrey Leichner. Okay, I've studied
Toyota
lean.
way.
I've studied Six Sigma. This makes a huge difference in your organization. I strongly recommend that. Although it's manufacturing, you can easily apply it to the service business. So that's one if you're operational. When it comes to developing employee relationships, customer relationships, vendor relationships, community relationships, I go all the way back to the Bible of Sales, which is Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Everything from
Yes.
Zig Ziglar to
Cheers.
all Grant Cardone, all of the new stuff that's out is really just regurgitating what Dale Carnegie created years ago. And that still is the way to go. And the one thing that I realized after I'd read that book that I didn't think about while I was reading it is how much it was actually going to help my personal life, my relationship with my family. So that one's really good. When you talk about how to build a business and have the right vision, Good to Great by Jim Collins. All right.
Good to Great. Jim
Good
Collins.
to Great. Yep. You had mentioned earlier, how do you stay disciplined? Well, anything that's not inside of our hedgehog concept, which he talks about in that book, we simply don't do. We know what we're good at. We know what we can be the best at. We know what drives our economic indicator. And those are the three things that define a hedgehog concept. When you read the book, you'll understand. But if you have that clarity of vision, you're all rowing together in the same direction, you can accomplish a lot more in a shorter period of time. So that's a really good one. But the best one to start with is the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. See,
E-Myth.
E-Myth. It's not E as in email. It's not electronic myth. It's the entrepreneurial myth. See, most people go into business for themselves because they become really good at a trade, or they have a skill that they're pretty good at, and they've risen to the point where they're a leader or a manager in an organization working for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And they leave for three reasons Michael talks about this in the E-Myth and the E-Myth Revisited. He says people leave because they want more money, more freedom, and more time. The irony of the situation is when you become your own boss, you have less money, less freedom, and less time.
It's
Now,
so true.
The key to this book is, I'm not going to spoil it because there's a lot of good stuff into it. The key, you need to read it because you need to understand about the walls and building up and how to sustain and all that kind of stuff. But here's the key to this. I'll give you like the little secret nugget. The key to the E-Myth is if you're going to want more money, more security, and more time, you have to understand that it doesn't matter what you know about your trade. You need to know business.
Mm-hmm.
And business can be applied universally regardless of what the widget is. And that's the one key thing that most people are lacking when they decide to go into business by themselves. By the way, most people are talking to go into business by themselves by a family member. Kind of interesting. And now that leads us to probably, I don't know if I'm at 10 yet, but I'll tell you the one that's going to make the biggest difference in your organization. And that one is called Traction. Now, Traction was written by a guy named Gino Wickman. Now, if you are the type of person who likes the documentary, like the no nonsense, this is the manual, this is the how-to, Traction is your book. If you're the kind of person that prefers to have analogies and have the task, the skill, the concept relate to something in real life, you need to read the book, Get a Grip. In other words, get a grip on your business. Now, the Gino Wickman's Traction was the first one that defined the EOS process. That is the entrepreneurial operating system. And the EOS, his second book, written by Mike Payton, who is his very best friend and partner in the business, is Get a Grip, which is more a story behind how to implement this system. Now, here it is. Here's the system. Just like you have an operating system on your computer, in order for your computer to run, in order for you to have programs on it, in order for the screen to work and the sound to come out and the camera to work, those are all built on top of an operating system. EOS is an accelerated system of running a really good business. It tells you everything from your vision component, where you're going, to your traction component, how you're going to get there. It also has the people component, the data component, the process component. All of these are key, the 6 key metrics, the six key core concepts to running a good business. And this concept of EOS will work on any business 1 billion in size and less. Now, Typically, if you're under $1 million, it may be a little aspirational. But once you get over $1 million in revenue a year, this is absolutely the system that you want to get on and start operating under.
And most roofers, I mean, anyone that's listening to this podcast, that's their goal. They want to be over $1 million within 1 year. And that's the kind of systems. Oh, it's incredible. That's a good, no, I've never read that book. So it sounds exciting. I like metaphors. I think I learn better when people have associations. So get a grip, huh?
Get a grip on your business. The irony of that whole thing is, and how I got introduced to it was, we still do, work with a software platform provider who helps do some of our customizations. And they are the company that is featured in the book, Get a Grip. And I happen to know the owners pretty well, and I was amazed at their success in such a short period of time. Like when I first joined them, they had like a half a dozen people in the office. And it was really neat because you get to meet the owners and you get to talk to some of the key people. Next thing you know, there's hundreds of people in this office, and it's only like 3 years later. Where did all these people come from? Congratulations on all your success. How did you do it? And they said, oh, we're following EOS. What the heck is EOS? Which, by the way, what the heck of EOS is the book that we hand out to all of our employees. It's a really short book. It's only
and so you share the knowledge. That's what I preach all the time on the show, is that you want to, you don't, if an employee leaves to start their own companies, that's where, all roofing companies come from two places. One is it's passed down through family. Like my grandfather was a roofer. Was your dad a roofer? Or your grandfather? So, yeah. So it usually is passed down through family. And then a lot of times there's some that have the entrepreneurial bug. And like you said, they think, well, I have the skill set. And so they start something that's not really creating a business. They create a new job for themselves. Right. And so that's cool. That EOS can help them to actually create a business that is scalable. And then you can actually have more time and even exit that business down the road. So that's incredible.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, companies that are run on EOS have a much higher multiple and valuation because of it. So, I mean, we just went through it. I'm a testament to it. It works.
I'm so happy for you because, you have really skyrocketed. I mean, over this past decade, and everyone loves you because you're a fair person, a good, honest and fair, and you help people. You empower them to become better versions of themselves. And so it's a testament. But hey, is there anything else that we should mention if someone wants to learn more about you? What can they do?
So the best way to get a hold of me is just reach out via email, ken@kellyroofing.com. And you'd be surprised with all the stuff that I do. I really try to make time to help mentor individuals. So don't be embarrassed or shy. Reach out to me. It might be a couple days before I get back to you and get something set up, but I'd be happy to just chat and see what your situation is and offer any help. And I'll tell you, this isn't me being altruistic. This is what guys did to me when I got into business. My mentor, Greg Wallach, I was reading his articles in the magazines for years, and I finally had the chance to meet him in person. And I went up and introduced myself. I said, you have no idea what you've done for me and my family. I just wanted to say thanks. And he says, come on by the office. So I did. He's been my mentor ever since. He's an incredible role model. And I'm just trying to do the same thing that he taught me.
Well, you're inspirational to me too. I'm so glad we got to work together those many years ago and fly all over the Bahamas together. And if anyone wants to see that, you can still go to my personal YouTube channel and just Google my name, and you can still watch the video. I think it's like 1,000 watches now.
That's awesome. I just bought a new one.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm going to come visit. We are thinking, well, I'll tell you about that later, but,
Okay, cool.
But Ken, hey, appreciate you so much. And we wish everyone success, but thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much.
So that was my interview with Ken Kelly. Wasn't that amazing? He helped us to understand how he scaled his business through technologies, which freed up more time for him to get involved in other things, like even working with digital technology on a board for technology. And this is amazing. So isn't that inspirational for us? So use this inspiration to scale and grow your roofing business. Now it's time for Did you know? Did you know that I am actually on the board of advisors for the School of Roofing? Now, what's the School of Roofing? Well, if you listen to previous podcasts, we were talking about, this is with Henry Skaggs. He developed this non-for-profit to help roofers like you, like all of us, that are running low on labor. The School of Roofing was designed as a mission to have a curriculum for educating young ones in high school and in college. And if we can start this program and get the School of Roofing inside all of these high school programs and college programs, it'll inspire young ones to realize that the roofing industry is something for them. That yes, they can not only be a tech, but you could also be a salesman. But there's more jobs than just that when it comes to a roofing business. There's office help, there's financials, doing the financials, bookkeeping, and marketing. So there's so many segments within the roofing industry that young ones may not even know about. And so the School of Roofing is designed to be in all these schools so we can inspire. And then after several years from now, we're going to start seeing a lot more labor in our workforce. Now, how can you get involved? Well, go to the Roofing Business Builder Instagram and there click on the School of Roofing link. There you can donate money towards this cause. You can get involved by helping out financially because it does cost money to spread this curriculum into schools across America. And guess what? If you donate, then you can get a beautiful t-shirt. And if you go to our Instagram at Roofing Business Builder Instagram, you can see what those shirts look like. So that's it for the show. I hope you enjoyed it. We have wonderful things coming up. Be sure to check out again, maybe Instagram or whichever platform that you're watching the Roofing Business Builder on. Go to our website, and that way you can see what's coming up. And we're going to have another webinar coming up next month. So check out that, what the subject will be. And we're just really excited because we're growing our businesses together. And I'm happy to be a part of your life on this journey. So until next week, remember, I don't always consult on commercial roofing, but when I do, I make millionaires. Stay wealthy, my friends.